What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we have to talk about this pretty enormous Xbox rumor. It originally came from Sneakers SO, and it started to build over this weekend. And then you had Tom Warren going on a podcast, and I believe like the hosts were kind of laughing the whole thing off, right? Like, oh, what a funny rumor, what a funny joke. And he had said, well, he didn't say anything about the rumor specifically, but he had said that this Sneakers SO legitimately knows like insider stuff at Xbox. Pretty deep stuff that like maybe you wouldn't expect him to know, but he does know it. And again, that doesn't necessarily say, okay, well, the rumor is true, but Tom Warren is a person that is incredibly connected and also kind of quiet, like I don't even think puts out as much stuff as like a Jason Schreier, but he definitely knows his stuff. So that's really the last couple days of the rumor building and people, again, kind of laughing it off at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, no, this person, you should kind of take this person seriously. We had Jez Corden come out today, at least when I'm recording this, and said that it's not true. The thing with Jez Corden is he gets so much wrong, specifically with Xbox, which is the primary thing he covers, including, of course, the number one thing of like Xbox exclusives won't come to PlayStation. That was like his number one huge mistake, in fact, actually insulting people when he did that tweet, and then turns out he was dead wrong, right? Not even maybe less than a year after he put that tweet out. So, I mean, it is a back and forth kind of war. Who really knows? It is a little bit fun, okay, to talk about these things. We'll see what ends up happening. And I think what a lot of people online will be saying and have been saying is Xbox really feels like they just decide year to year what they're doing anyway. And it's a joke, but it actually is rooted in reality, right? Every year, it seems like they shift a little bit and they come back after Christmas break and they say, okay, what are we going to do this year? And even if they had a plan, they make a new plan, when they come back after the holidays. So, well, what is the rumor? Well, the rumor is pretty simple. It's that it's very possible that they throw out the idea for doing a next-gen Xbox hardware. So, like, the next gen Xbox console, it went from for sure happening to now it's like in the air. Who really knows if it's going to happen? I mean, that's the specific line, by the way. It went from concrete plans to it for being definitive. It went from definitive to up in the air. So a for sure thing to now maybe 50-50 type thing. And, the reasoning that the Sneakers SO talks about is just everything kind of collapsing under Xbox. They're going to do another round of layoffs, he says. And that's not, by the way, that's not that hard to predict because they really do, strangely and sadly enough, they do it every year, right? They lay off thousands of people every single year. So that probably will happen. They talk about the Call of Duty thing, right? That became a big thing the last couple days, that Game Pass cuts into, and this is shocking, I know, even though it's actually not, Game Pass cuts into profits. Money that you might have made through sales gets converted to Game Pass, and while Game Pass is profitable, and we know that, it's so profitable, of course, that they're raising the prices to it, but they are still, because of that, they're losing money, right? And the report was they lost $300 million alone just to last year's COD. So you imagine what they're losing to any game that, again, like maybe people would buy it, but instead they're going to do Game Pass. Again, yeah, you're making money off Game Pass, but then you're not making money off of the sales of the actual game. So the model has really shifted, right? And it's what people have said, I think, for an incredibly long time, but that was the rumor with Call of Duty. So the COD thing being one reason, but then it's really, and we're seeing this in real time, this is not a rumor, this is just like a factual observation. Companies are losing trust in like selling the console worldwide. We've literally seen Costco pull it. And even with that, like at first it was like, well, maybe they're out of stock. Maybe they just don't feel like it this month. And then like they had I believe somebody asked them about it and they issued a statement and they said, no, we're just not doing it anymore. So it's like Costco, I believe they say, is what, the third biggest retailer like worldwide, right? It's like Amazon, Walmart, Costco. So when Costco pulls out, that is an enormous deal, right? That is one of your main retailers to sell your console that is no longer doing it. I think I just saw a report that said Spain, a lot of outlets or just, places in Spain are saying, nope, we're done. We know Xbox has historically struggled in many locations that it just doesn't sell, period. And we have heard kind of really over not just the last week or so, but like the year, that maybe they are going to start pulling them from store shelves and just not sell them anymore. So really all those things. And this, by the way, a lot of this stuff is what Sneakers SO is saying is the reasoning, but some of it is, again, like factual observations. If that Call of Duty Game Pass thing is real, which it seems like it would be real, that's a big deal. Costco pulling out, we know that's actually a thing, and we know other stores. And I think actually in his little report here, he says that he's heard from other big places that they're going to stop selling Xbox consoles as well. So within the next year or two, they're even through just that alone, right? Like if half the retailers just decide, nah, we're not feeling like it, we're just not going to sell Xbox, it's over. You cannot sell your Xbox without the help of retail. You could do it on your own website, but it's not enough. You're not going to be able to do it, and it's already lagging behind so much the last two this generation and last generation. So like I wouldn't be shocked. I think look, and I've said it before, and I try to say it as more of a positive thing. I don't want to be always negative, and I think generally I'm actually kind of always positive. If Xbox wants to go that just publisher route, and just publish games, use xCloud, and those, and that's what the reports are, right? They'll use xCloud. That's their way in. It is in the sense like an Xbox Play Anywhere, right? Your TV is an Xbox, your phone is an Xbox. You don't really need the console where they're going. And then where they're going is one thing. Where other people want them to go is another, and they have limitations. Like if Costco wants to stop and Amazon and Walmart feel like stopping, then guess what? You are going to be a place where your phone has to be an Xbox because you won't have an Xbox anymore. That's just the reality of like those two mentalities, Xbox's mentality and then kind of the world's mentality, right? When those two meet, you might literally not have a console. So look, I mean, my prediction was always they have one more go around, one more next gen, PS6, and then the next Xbox, and after that it's over. Whether they want it to be over or they are forced out, like one of those two things. But I think that happens. Now, by the way, you could argue like, will we even have a PS7? I don't know. It's tough. I do think like PlayStation, Nintendo will keep it around as long as possible. And that's tough. Because you're predicting 7, 8, 9 years from now. And also people legitimately at times thought the PS4, Xbox One era was the end. People also legitimately thought that the PS5, Series S and X was the end. We've done it twice where even analysts and stuff like legitimately thought that this was going to be the last console generation, and they did it last time as well. So I don't want to call it, for the PS6 gen now because everybody was wrong anyway, so why be wrong so early, right? But, you could argue that. You could say, well, after this next gen, will there be consoles in the first place? I think yes, but I also think Xbox wouldn't be a part of that. But at the same time, it's also possible there are no consoles. Now, in that case, PlayStation, I think, would be ultra screwed because they don't really have that infrastructure that Xbox does. So we'll see, but it's definitely interesting, and honestly, it's an enormous deal, right? Like if you are getting close to making a next-gen Xbox console, right? It's 2 years away, and now you're 50-50 on it, which is like nuts, You have a next-gen console prototyping and making it work. You're building it out, and then all of a sudden you go from, oh yeah, shipping in 2 years. Now you're like, well, maybe we just won't do it. It's like that's scary. By the way, that's a lot of job losses right there too, because you have people that just work on that stuff. So maybe those people are in trouble. And then also like not having a next-gen Xbox would be insane. To actually think about one of them bowing out. Now, Xbox would kind of be bowing out in a different way. They'd be going publisher. They'd be going this kind of cloud service. So they're not gone. It's not like they're dead, but they're bowing out of literally this 3-party race, with consoles. That would be crazy. I think it's something people have been warming up to, or not really warming up to, like getting ready for, let's say it like that, right? I think people have been like prepared that like, yeah, maybe eventually one of these drops out, but I don't know if we're actually ready for that situation happening, and it might really happen within the next couple of years. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure as always you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.